Welcome to The Point of View. This is your favorite current affairs show here on ChannelOne television. You're on The Point of View. We get the right guests, ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you. We have a big guest for you tonight. He's usually on the other side of the dial on Metro TV on Tuesdays and Thursdays with his show, Good Evening Ghana. He's been running for over 20 years. Tonight, he's decided to pass through our studio to give us an exclusive insight into what has happened to him in the past few days. Now, for those of you who do not know, Adom-Otchere is my guest. He was invited by the Office of the Special Prosecutor over alleged procurement breaches. Well, he says he's fully cooperated with investigations and submitted himself to interrogation. He was granted bail, but under conditions which he and some lawyers consider to be palpably unreasonable, and that it even bordered on a farce. He tells us his views on all of that and more when we come back. Later on, we debate two think tanks, CATS International and Imani. They have different views on what Nate George is doing with DSTV. So they'll join us to have a debate on free market versus interventionism. Which one is the best? So it's a big show. Stay with us. Welcome. So tonight we start with Adom-Otchere, who is the host of Good Evening Ghana. He's also the immediate past board chair of the Ghana Airport Company Limited. In the first term of Nana Akufo-Addo's government, he was also a board member of the NCA. If there's time, I'll ask him some questions around some communication issues. Paul, great to have you. You are fine fettle.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Wait, this whole idea of you going to OSP and invitation, did it come as a surprise to you? Based on the fact that we knew you'd done shows on the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Were you surprised when you were invited to go and answer questions?
No, I wasn't. And I think at the outset, we have to say that the OSP has the right to investigate the things he has to investigate.
Okay.
He is an appointee of state, and he's paid by taxpayers' money to try and reduce corruption or to eradicate corruption altogether. The bill, OSP bill that went to Parliament, talked about how, in spite of the Office of the Attorney General, there should be still another agency, and many people agreed with it. So the OSP has a right to do his work all the time. There's no questions about it. But yes, we have been critical of some of the things he had done, and he had also been upset about some of our criticisms, some of which were expressed directly in person and all of that. So yes, we are aware that maybe somebody there is not happy, but we don't think that because somebody is not happy, he will prosecute you wrongly. If we are thinking that there's something wrong, then it's based on the facts that came to us. So yes, we do not think the OSP does not have the right to invite me or any other Ghanaian. And so when he invited me to show up last week, Thursday, my lawyers wrote back to him that there are two senior lawyers who would have represented me, but they are not available. So can we reschedule for the next Monday? They wrote back a very stern letter saying that you cannot reschedule, you have to come. So I went. So yes, I respect the OSP's power to investigate and to prosecute where he finds something to prosecute.
Manasseh Azuri had made some posts around some procurement matters in which he referenced the Ghana Airport Company and also mentioned your name. Do you think that influenced the whole decision to invite you?
I wouldn't know. I spoke to Manasseh personally about it. He sent me some questions. I understand that he's published them, but I don't know how the OSP does his work. And the OSP has power to investigate, so I really wouldn't know. But the OSP still has power within himself to conduct his own investigations.
But would a write-up by a prominent journalist, which then sort of raises questions for you in the public, not, I only want to use the word prejudice because that probably predated the invitation, but obviously that contributes to the build-up, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, Manasseh's concern was about SML, and Manasseh's story was really that this SML has metamorphosed itself into something at Ghana Airport, and so Ghana Airport people would know how that metamorphosis occurred, which I think is fair, but I don't know whether the OSP invited me because of that.
But he also says that the current, the contract for which the Ghana Airport Company needs to answer questions is actually a transmogrification of SML. He actually says that it's the same people. There's a different name, but it's like the same principles. So clearly, he's sort of drawing a link between the SML deal and then a contract that the Ghana Airport Company awarded to this company, which he believes an offshoot, for which he believes you knew, because he claims you had a meeting with him or spoken to him where you sort of said you had even met the people the night before, sometime. So we are not dealing with Manasseh here, but it seems to be the same case that has changed into GACL, correct?
I don't know whether it's the same case.
So.
It may have similarities, but I don't know whether it's the same case because the OSP's letter had a reason why you've been invited. Corruption-related offenses and public procurement breaches relating to this contract. And it's straight and fair. It doesn't make any reference to any investigations by journalists.
But do they establish why, as board chair, you should have any questions to answer on a deal like this?
They don't, and I was saying that is how we felt that there has to be some difficulty with this because why would you invite a board chair? I heard listening to your sister, another station on Saturday, Madam Vicky Bright, a corporate governance expert, was expressing wonder why a board chair will be invited for either procurement breaches or... So when they say corruption and corruption-related offenses, that itself does not capture any offense, but all the offenses come under it. So there's stealing, there's causing financial loss to the state. Clearly, this is not a matter of causing financial loss to the state because no money had been paid, no loss had been occasioned, absolutely no money had been paid. And then there's also procurement breaches, which has nothing to do with board because the public procurement law identifies the entity head, the CEO, as the people they deal with. I, as board chairman, never wrote any letter to public procurement. I never engaged public procurement. There were several procurements, as I have told the OSP in the interrogation, that the board is not even aware of. The board doesn't need to know. So procurement, board and procurement, it sounds incongruous, but investigative authorities know what they are doing. So this was a contract about revenue assurance. Now, the Minister for Transport at the time had told us that we needed to develop other ways of making money for the airports. They call it non-aeronautical ways of making money for the airport. So the aeronautical ways are the plane ticket and all of that. Non-aeronautical are maybe shops, people have shops, how much do you charge them? And it was a big concern. The cargo area was also a concern, and management and board knows about this. So the concern about the cargo area question was, are you really making the money you should be making from the cargo area as an airport? So if you take this Skywater, for instance, if it comes in from elsewhere abroad, it comes to the airport, is cleared by an agent, and then the agent, when he clears it, they tell Ghana Airport Company what business has been done, and out of that, a calculation of the commissions or whatever they pay to Ghana Airport Company is determined. There was a suspicion that perhaps the Ghana Airport Company is not getting what it should get. So this was about people coming to do a presentation to the airport company and say that I have the technology to be able to give you in real time what you should be getting. So they were told that, okay, let's develop it further, work with management and let's see. And then we told them at the outset that the bad news we have for them, though, is that we don't have money to pay. We can't pay. So they will have to do the work. And if they are successful at the work, then we can think of a commission for them. But to pay them, we can't. Okay, so that's the beginning. So they said, okay, well, no problem. They are confident that they'll be able to do the work. So they take the systems of Ghana Airport historically, maybe the last 3 months, how much did you receive? They do some algorithm analysis and tell you that you could have received this when you were getting this. Okay, so they work together with the management. They come back to the board and do a second presentation. In the presentation, they show us really fantastic figures of what we are losing. And we all are overwhelmed that, are they really serious that this is true? And they said, yeah, this is true. But these are very young men who seem to be very IT savvy. So this is what the whole contract's about. So the contract's about, okay, so give them the right now to do this assessment. Now, how anyone will know that the board was doing absolute fidelity to the company is that this contract, if it's successful, will gain more revenue for the company. But in doing the contract preparations, we were all sure that we will not be there by the time the success occurs. So when the success comes, whoever is in charge of GACL at the time will take credit for it. We were aware of that.
It was a long-term contract.
Yeah, we were aware of that. So in fact, the contract was signed, apparently, as I found out, on 4th December. Because we had finished our work. The last meeting we had, I think, was in August, something like that.
When did the process start, do you know?
The process started in March of 2024. So the process starts with come and do a presentation to the board.
Okay.
The board hears you. The board says, okay, management, can you take this further? Okay, they take it further. Management comes back and say, board.
So this was like they came to you. It wasn't like you had opened something. They found a problem and said they wanted to solve it.
No, we were looking for people to solve the problem.
Okay.
So one presentation came, so we listened to it. As far as we are concerned, listening to the presentation at the board stage is preliminary. No commitments have been made. There's absolutely no problem. We can listen to 10 presentations and don't proceed with it and proceed with one. At that stage, it is when you are beginning to procure the service. It is then that there's a commitment. So we listened to the presentation. We said, okay, management, work with them, let's see. They came back and said, it looks like they have a story to tell. Let's hear them. We heard them. And then we said, okay, go ahead and work it out. Go ahead and work it out means management always knows what to do with that, because the board is just a supervisory and say, we think this is good, look at it. Management may well come back and say, well, there was some information that you people didn't have. Let's give it to you and see whether you still think this is good. All of those things. So management went ahead and then did the contract. So this is the matter of this contract. Now,
so it wasn't like, because don't forget, you mentioned that even Vicky Bright has said that the issue of board and contracting
and procurement.
So it was, the board did not actively choose the final winner of this, or this company.
No, it's not a winner.
Also, there was no competitive, it was just one company.
It's a process that we are thinking, can they do it? And so the public procurement has, is it sole sourcing they call it?
Yes.
And then when you want to do sole source, as I found out, you have to write to the public procurement and they have to accept it. Whether this qualifies for sole sourcing or not. So sometimes you write to them, I hear they will not accept sole sourcing, sometimes they will accept it, but they have a basis on which they accept it.
So was this done?
Yeah, so a letter was written to management, the board decided that go ahead and look for sole sourcing. And then when they will write to procurement, and procurement will decide whether this should be sole source, whether this qualifies as sole sourcing or not. So procurement can decide it doesn't qualify. Procurement can decide it qualifies.
This is the authority?
Yeah, the public procurement authority. Yes, so you write to the public procurement authority, their board will have a meeting, they will look at it. There are basis on which they accept. And I think the management people know. Because if you're asking sole sourcing, you have to show the person has this, that, all kinds of things. So they have proceeded with that. The board says, we think this is good. Go to public procurement, let's see what happens.
And so you didn't insist that there should be competitive tendering?
No, we didn't.
You didn't think?
We didn't quite. You see, IT solutions are such that sometimes people have evolved them themselves. They are like intellectual property. So when people bring an IT solution, and because IT solutions can easily be duplicated, when somebody brings you an IT solution and you say competitive and other people can look at it and do it. So IT solutions are, sometimes that's why the sole sourcing is available in the public procurement. So that when somebody is bringing an intellectual property, if City TV decide that we think that there should be a documentary of this, that in trade, and then they go and tell the GIPC that, look, GIPC, we think you need this service and we can do it for you. And they say go and do competitive, then it means other people must present the same thing that City has originally thought about. So I think that the public procurement sole sourcing is for that. And the sole sourcing is not automatic. The public procurement must agree that this qualifies for sole sourcing.
So once the public procurement authority agrees, you are not forced because it's their decision.
It's their decision.
Or your proposal and they recommend or not.
It's their decision.
They
it's
agree
the public
or not.
procurement's decision to agree or not. It's not. We can say we want sole source and they'll say no, you can't have it based on that and that. And they're not.
And that process was gone through
by the management. That's nothing to do with the board.
So the only thing the board did was to listen to the people
and say that go ahead with them.
Okay.
And you can do sole sourcing.
I see.
So they write to. I don't even know when they are writing this, reference the board. But the first engagement public procurement has with any process like that is the letter from the management saying that this is where we are. So that was done. And up until then, and indeed up until now, no money has been spent. And that there's a statement from the company just last week saying that absolutely no money has been spent on the contract.
The Ghana Airport Company hasn't paid this company for any service?
Ghana Airport Company, under the what we approved, is not supposed to pay them.
How are they supposed to make their money?
That's a good question. No payment at all. So we know that we are earning 100 cedis from mineral water. If you come and out of your work, you can show, or we can earn 500 cedis from the mineral water. The difference will be 400 cedis what you have added. Under the contract, or under what we discussed at the board, the proposal they brought, they wanted 20% of this 400. The board said, no, that's too high. You can have 16%. So this was the clarity that the board gave towards going to sole sourcing. So this is so no money is paid, no money. So if you can show truly that your systems have made us earn this, and if the system make us earn, we will all know, because they were saying that in real time they can tell the company how much you should be expecting, so that if the people come and they are saying something else, then we can reconcile with the data and show them that this is what. So this is what it's about. That's why no payment is involved. Absolutely no payment.
Were they able to increase your revenue?
That's a good question again, because we left on January 8th. And they began the process to demonstrate to the airport sometime in March
2025.
5 years, because the contract was signed on December 4th, as I was told. In fact, board members didn't know, but it doesn't matter. The contract was signed on December 4th. December 7th was the election. After December 7th, I think we held a concluding board meeting, something like that, with a lot of hostility on the ground, as you imagine what happened at that time.
But the management team was still in place?
Management is still in place, absolutely still in place. And then we left on January 8th because a directive came from the secretary to the president that all boards must leave. So we all resigned out.
But the management was still working?
The management was still working. So
and they decided to continue the process?
The contract has been signed. So apparently, the people started doing this, going through the processes to tell that they are still doing that. They have not gotten to the point where they can show that we have earned this and you give us this. They have not gotten to that point. That's why the management letter said no money has been spent. So this is the matter of money spending. Absolutely nothing. Zero.
So I think you've given us enough on the case without going too much into it. Now let's talk about when you went to meet the team. When they invited you and you said you had wanted a different day, they said no, you came. You went with your team. How was it like? Where did you go? Who did you meet? How was it like? What was the interaction like?
It's a simple interrogation. So it can get hostile at some times, which is understandable. I mean, somebody's arguing with you, said this, that you say that. So that happened. But it was fair and fine. And so you sit around a table like this, and then you are there with your lawyers, and they ask you questions.
So when you get there, do they charge you? Or they just say, I want to understand what it is.
The letter they sent to you
what was the letter saying?
Indicates that you are a suspect for this.
Okay.
So sometimes when you get there, they will do what they call the technical arrest.
Okay.
By touching you and say that you're under arrest.
Did they do that?
Yes, they did. So they read your rights to you, that you can decide not to answer questions, etc., etc. So you proceed. That is how come you need bail.
Okay. So you were technically arrested?
Yes. So when the interrogation finished, they brought a form that you should fill. Now, the form has specific questions. One of the questions is, do you have landed property in your name? And I answered that question, no.
Okay.
And I'm beginning to understand that was a problem, which we can talk about. And they said, do you have car? I answered it, and etc. Then they give you a bigger form that has more details, which you should answer over 30 days. So after the interrogation, they go to another room, and then some very nice people, they bring the form, and then you fill it. Then they take the form away. So after the form, they will come back and tell you your bail conditions. And that's where my lawyers...
So when you said you didn't have landed property in your name, did you understand that that was a precondition for the bail? At the time, you didn't know?
No, it's a form. It's just a form that you are filling. It has nothing to do with bail.
It's not labeled?
No, it's labeled as to disclose your name, your hometown. It's like a personal information form.
So when you filled that form, then later it was then said that because you have no landed property in your name, you can't get bail?
That is how my lawyers got upset, because the form indicates what you have as a landed property. So you answer the question. So by the time they are reading your bail conditions to you, they've already seen that form. They know what you have said in that form. So the big issue for my lawyers was that the suspect says that I do not have landed property. And then you say, okay, that is your bail condition. It suggests that there's a problem. But that's where the banter of my lawyer started. But then the issue about the form has been the no landed property has been discussed in a way that I feel disappointed by a big lawyer who said that he knows that I have 4 properties in Accra, and he's going to
on a media
show
platform.
It. Yes, he said it on a media platform and I sent him a text that, please, in 2 weeks, can you show the? I don't know why. I'll mention this, everybody knows it. That he said, you have landed property. I know Paul Adom-Otchere has given money to somebody. I mean, some of these wild allegations they throw about. And I keep asking that, if a person lives in a house and has lived there for 20 years, and he says, I don't have landed property, why is that awkward? The house address is available. Lands Commission is available. Everyone can check. I even look at this as a bit chauvinistic, because if a man and a woman live together and they have a house, it is believed that it's for the man, it's not for the woman. But people act differently. Assuming that I'm married to X or X is married to me, and we are working together, and the person's office terms of mortgage is better than my office's terms of mortgage. If we want a mortgage, we'll go to her office or his office to take the mortgage. The mortgage will not record, because it's a loan, 2 of you owning it. It will record the one who works for it and the mortgage partner. So you have the thing in the name of X and this
So living in a house for 20 years does not mean
yours.
All right.
It doesn't mean that you didn't contribute.
Let's take a break.
Furniture or you didn't buy anything.
We're talking to Paul Adom-Otchere
anyway
on his what's even I want to use is his encounter with the OSP. We'll come back with more. He's telling us some of the things that he can tell us in relation to what happened there, and also the matter that he has been accused of. If we have time, we'll talk about national issues. Later on, we'll discuss DSTV and the minister. We have a nice debate for you. Stay with us.